back to this dais. I'm here for the mosquito and vector item.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect.
I can hear you.
Sounds good. But is the volume okay?
Yeah, it's really loud. It's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello. That is cool.
Sonia.
Okay, I think we're going to get started. Good afternoon and welcome to the February 4th, 2026 meeting of the Local Agency Formation Commission of Santa Clara County. This is an in-person meeting of the commission. Members of the public may also attend and participate in the meeting by virtual teleconference and using the login information provided in the meeting agenda. Santa Clara LAFCO strongly denounces hate speech and does not tolerate disruptive behavior in our meetings. LAFCO prides itself in the rich diversity of our residents. We are committed to creating a culture of belonging where members of our diverse community feel included, safe, and respected. This meeting is considered a limited public forum, which means that LAFCO can regulate the time, place, and manner of speech to prevent our meetings from being disrupted. This protects the rights of other speakers and ensures that LAFCO can accomplish its business in a reasonably efficient manner. All public comments must relate to an agenda item. If this directive is ignored, a warning by me, the speaker will be muted. LAFCO cannot guarantee that the public's access to teleconferencing technology will be uninterrupted. The technical difficulties may occur from time to time. Unless required by the Brown Act, the meeting will continue despite technical difficulties for participants using the teleconferencing option. Members of the public in the chambers who wish to speak and address the commission on items on the agenda should complete the request to speak card form, and those I believe are down below. Members of, who are attending the meeting by virtual teleconference and wish to address the commission should use the raise hand feature. Those participating by phone should dial *9. Staff will call on you by name or by the last 4 digits of the phone number and unmute each speaker in turn at the appropriate time. Written comments will be distributed to the commission and posted to the online agenda, but will not be read out loud. At this time, I ask the LAFCO clerk to do the roll call, please.
Chairperson Kame,
Here.
Vice Chairperson Kishimoto, Commissioner Arenas, Commissioner Bell, Commissioner Lee,
Present.
Commissioner Trumbull, Commissioner Turner, alternate Commissioner Campos, alternate Commissioner Chapman,
Here.
alternate Commissioner Young, alternate Commissioner Hilton,
Here.
alternate Commissioner O'Neill.
Here.
We have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And alternate Commissioner Hilton, is there anyone attending the meeting with you at the location?
No, there's not.
Okay, you'll let us know if there are any changes. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to share that alternate Commissioner Hilton is voting in place of Commissioner Turner, and of course, attending remotely from the Gilroy City Hall. And alternate Commissioner O'Neill is voting in place of Commissioner Trumbull today.
Thank you very much for that. Going on to item number 2, public comments. This is a time for any member of the public to address the commission on matters that are not on the agenda, provided the matter is within the commission's subject matter jurisdiction. Speakers in the chambers will be called first, followed by speakers participating virtually. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. For those in the chambers, if you wish to address the commission on this item, please fill out a request to speak form and place it in the tray. Ask the clerk if there are any requests to speak form. Are there any requests to speak form for public comment?
Madam Chair, there are no speakers on this item or on Zoom or from Gilroy City Hall.
Okay, great. And there's no one with a raised hand, correct?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 3, approval of the consent calendar. And I will make a note that item number 8, which is the website, has been requested to be moved to the consent calendar. Yes. Chair
Could I also
Kushimoto.
add items 12 and 13 and 14 and possibly do that routinely in the future?
Okay, so adding to the consent calendar, 13 and 14. Okay, if there's no objections, are there any public comments on the consent items?
Madam Chair, there are no public comments at this time.
Okay, if there's no objection by adding the items number 8, 13, and 14 to the consent item, is there a motion to move the consent item?
So moved.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please call the roll.
Commissioner Arenas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bell? Commissioner Kishimoto?
Yes?
Commissioner Lee?
Aye.
Commissioner O'Neill?
Yes.
And Commissioner Hilton?
Aye.
Great. We
Thank you
have
very much.
5 in favor.
So that passes unanimously. Item number 4 has already been taken on by our consent item, so we'll move on to item number 5, revised request for proposal for countywide water and wastewater service review. So I'm going to turn it over to staff at this point.
Chair and Commissioners, in December, we issued an RFP for a countywide water and wastewater service review. Unfortunately, we only received one proposal, and that proposal exceeded our approved budget, and it didn't meet the full scope of the services that we requested. After consulting with Chair Kamei, we decided not to move forward with an interview of that firm. We've since reached out to some of the well-established firms and learned that a comprehensive countywide service review of the scale that we have imagined now typically costs around $200,000. So we're unlikely to get a suitable proposal from a qualified consultant unless we either increase the budget or significantly reduce the scope. Staff is recommending that we increase the budget, and we're proposing a budget of $200,000 with a $10,000 contingency, and this would be split across 2 fiscal years. We have sufficient funding in our current budget to initiate this work, and the commission can plan for the balance in the upcoming budget cycle. So therefore, we're requesting the commission's authorization to issue an RFP for a professional service firm to prepare a countywide water and wastewater review. And we're also requesting that they delegate authority to the LAFCO chair to enter into an agreement with the most qualified consultant as determined by the consultant interview panel in an amount not to exceed $200,000, which may be amended with a contingency amount of up to $10,000, and to execute any necessary amendments subject to our legal counsel's review and approval. If we get authorization today, staff will release the RFP promptly, and we'll pull together a subgroup of our TAC to interview qualified consultants and make a recommendation, and then the chair may enter into an agreement with the most qualified consultant. We're happy to answer any questions today. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go to the commission, I'd like to ask if there is any public comment on this item. Sonia?
For 5, Madam Chair, there are no speakers on this item on Zoom or from Gilroy City Hall, and no speaker cards.
Thank you very much. We will now move to the commission discussion. Yes, Commissioner Lee.
Thank you so much. So looking at the file, looks like we only have one bid on this project, and that's $40K above the estimation, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so I would say I'm certainly disappointed that we don't have more bidders, and also the fact that they come in high. But again, I mean, it depends on what the real cost is, and if you've determined that this is the right cost, I certainly would make a motion to approve, and hopeful that in the future we'll be able to get more outreach so that we get at least more bids to evaluate for other
Yes,
projects.
we're
Thank you.
hoping that, we're expecting that once we've correctly priced this work.
Yep, thank you. That's all I have.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Thank you. Commissioner Bell. Is there any other question? Gotta learn to look over here. Yes, Commissioner Chapman.
Thank you, Chair. I know I'm way over here. This is more a question through the chair and for staff. I thought this might be an appropriate time to share that the Coyote Valley Master Plan, or what we call CV Camp, is going to be launching this spring. And part of that study, the board received a preliminary overview at our last board meeting, is going to be studying water quality and Fisher Creek and Laguna Seca. So I don't know if that's part of the study that we will be commencing. So I just wanted to bring that forward.
Geographically, this is a countywide study, so that area would be looked at, and I think we would love to hear more about that and see what information we might be able to, collect through that effort. So,
Great. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Over there? No? Okay. Very good. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Arenas? Commissioner Bell? Commissioner Kishimoto?
Yes?
Commissioner Lee?
Aye.
Commissioner Trumbull? Commissioner O'Neill, I'm sorry.
Aye.
And Commissioner Hilton.
Aye.
Great.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Hilton. I didn't even ask whether you had any questions, but I assume you did not. Thank you
Yeah,
very
you're
much.
right. I'll chime in if thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, thank you. All right, we will now move on to item number 6, which is request received to initiate a LAFCO study of the Santa Clara County Mosquito and Vector Control District. At this time, we're going to do, is Edgar here?
We'll do a staff report.
We'll do the staff report, and then we'll invite Mr. Edgar Nolasco to have 5 minutes of a presentation, but first from staff.
Thank you, Chair Kamei. At the last LAFCO meeting in December, several SEIU 521 stewards and staff from the Santa Clara County Mosquito Vector Control District spoke during public comment and voiced concerns about reduced or delayed services and a lack of financial transparency at the district. The group submitted supporting materials, which are included in Attachment A of the report, requesting that LAFCO initiate an assessment of the district. The commission directed staff to agendize the item for today's discussion. While staff has reviewed the material submitted by the group, we have not independently verified the claims. An evaluation of these matters by LAFCO would typically have to occur through a service review process. As background, this district was created in 1988 to provide mosquito, rat, and other vector control services throughout Santa Clara County. The district is governed by the County Board of Supervisors and is considered a dependent special district. The district is currently funded by 2 benefit assessments levied on properties within the district. LAFCO's last service review for the district was conducted in 2013, at which time no significant issues were identified for the district. This district is a part of the county's Consumer and Environmental Protection Agency, or CEPA. According to a recent district staff report to the County Board of Supervisors, the district now faces a $2.77 million structural deficit due to payroll costs outpacing revenue, threatening a 30% service cut in fiscal year 2027. To address this, the County Board of Supervisors has initiated a ballot proceeding for a new benefit assessment, with final results expected on June 2nd of this year. LAFCO staff has reached out to the director of CEPA, Edgar Nolasco. He's here today to share a brief presentation regarding the district's current operations and outlook. Santa Clara LAFCO's mission includes encouraging efficient delivery of services, promoting public accountability and transparency of local agencies, and exploring and facilitating regional opportunities for fiscal sustainability. LAFCO provides broad oversight of special districts through service reviews. And under the Cortese-Knox-Hertzberg Act, LAFCO is mandated to conduct service reviews to evaluate service adequacy, financial health, governance structure, and public accountability and transparency of local agencies. Under LAFCO's current service review work plan, the Mosquito and Vector Control District, along with various other special districts, would be studied in the Special District Service Review, which is scheduled to begin in 2027 after the completion of the Water and Wastewater Service Review that we just heard about. Staff has identified 2 options for addressing the concerns raised about the Mosquito and Vector Control District. Option 1 is to follow LAFCO's current service review work plan and address the issues during the Special District Service Review scheduled for 2027 after the completion of the Water and Wastewater Service Review. This option would allow LAFCO to proceed with its current work plan without much disruption, but the issues would not be studied until 2027. Option 2 is to conduct a more focused service review for the district beginning in late summer or fall of this year after the conclusion of the district's benefit assessment proceedings. This option offers an earlier timeline to address the concerns and allows LAFCO staff to first launch the Water and Wastewater Service Review before beginning work on the district service review. So in summary, these are the 2 options that staff is currently proposing to the commission, and we are seeking direction on which approach you'd like staff to pursue. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to go to the Director of the County Consumer and Environmental Protection Agency, and then we'll have public comment, and after public comment, we'll come back to the commission for discussion. So welcome, Edgar Nolasco.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. It is my pleasure to be here in front of you. My name is Edgar Nolasco. I am the Director of the Consumer and Environmental Protection Agency, known as CEPA. One of the 10 wonderful departments that we have is the Mosquito and Vector Control District. It was previously known as the Vector Control District, but in anticipation of this 2026 assessment, with the help of our Board of Supervisors acting as the Board of Trustees, we updated the name to now reflect Mosquito and Vector Control. We have a small presentation today. Today with me, I have Boo Tai, our admin services manager to help me answer any questions, and I also have staff from SEPA to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. Good afternoon, Commissioner. My name is Butai, and we have a few slides. Staff has already provided a great overview, so I won't repeat what staff has provided, but glad to be here to share a little bit about the overview of mosquito vector control and their financial status. So, learning how to navigate, just to give you a brief background, as staff indicated, mosquito vector was established in 1988, funded by 2 benefit assessment. What is driving us in terms of our current climate is that in 2024 season, we had an emerging invasive mosquito called Aedes aegypti. It is a mosquito that's fairly dangerous. It's a day-biting mosquito that's aggressive and likes to bite multiple times. So this mosquito also is a big concern related to health because it transmits disease like Zika, dengue, and yellow fever. With that, it really required additional resources, both in staff time and supplies like pesticide. We then began to explore bringing additional revenue into the district, starting with working with a consultant on an opinion survey. So in April of 2025, we did conduct a opinion survey that came back fairly positive, and the property owners expressed strong support for an additional benefit assessment.
If I may, I think the mic is over here. I just wanted to provide an overview of some of the comments that were relayed before in this meeting as it relates to transparency, and we have a small timeline. I know we're short for time. On 3/26/2025, we provided an update at a SEPA all hands of all financial situation of terms of budget, in terms of SEPA and vector control. Also, on March of 2025, we presented to a Hewlett committee the financial outlook of the vector control district, what we shared with staff, and that is part of your package C. On 5/7, during a labor management meeting with some of my team members that are behind me, we've also shared our projections and our fiscal outlook. On 7/9, at a team meeting, we provided a budget presentation directly related to the fiscal outlook of the vector control. Also, during that meeting on 7/9, we did share with the entire team that the vector control district is currently undergoing an audit by our Department of Finance, the audit team, that will have an overview of all vector control finances and also policies and protocols. We're currently going through that. It is part of the county's FGOC committee, which will be taken back to the FGOC in June of 2026, and then going then to the Board of Supervisors. On 9/16, Boo and I met with our SEMA representatives, which is a management labor union, to talk about the fiscal outlook of directly related to mosquito control and relaying our plans of moving forward with what we call the third assessment, which we like to say the 2026 assessment. As you have in your package, very thankful and appreciative to our Board of Trustees. In their capacity, the Board of Supervisors approved the 2026 assessment, and that is part of your attachment C, and that was brought to the board on 1/13/2026. Subsequently, on the next day, we had a vector control all staff, and I shared with the entire team the wonderful news that our Board of Supervisors is supporting and has authorized the 2026 assessment. We answered questions as it relates to the assessment. We had an FAQ, and also reminded folks at that time where we had previous discussions about the budget, that we have a portal dedicated to the employees so they can see our budget picture. Not only that, we made it a point to have an anonymous method of asking questions anonymously. And again, we reminded staff of that as well. And I will go on to the next slide.
Okay, great. So this quickly, you have more detail in your packet, but this is the district's revenue and expenditures that led us here. As staff reported, we are experiencing $2.8 million in a shortfall. And some of the reasons for that driver is responding to emerging threats. And so a few things that we have focused on. One was stabilizing the district's operation, addressing any cost savings that we could have, as well as looking at just addressing the reduction in resources so that we can be efficient in our operations. We have explored a variety of cost savings before exploring the 2026 benefit assessment. And so with the Board of Trustees approval, proceeding with the 2026 assessment, a few of the things that we're focusing on in terms of service is stabilization of district operations, but as well as increasing resources to address the emerging Aedes aegypti issue, as well as continuing to do the core work of mosquito and vector surveillance, monitoring, and testing of diseases, to name a few. And in terms of the proposal that we have for the 2026 assessment, we are looking at increasing the rate to $15.75 per year with a single-family homes. And you can see in this table that in other types of property, there are different rates for being proposed for 2026 assessment. So our recommendation to the commissioner is a few, to help us, the community, understand the free service that the district provides, to encourage residents to sign up to Mosquito and Vector Alert and Alert SEC, and finally, to bring awareness of our effort in 2026 benefit assessment. Finally, quickly, we are encouraging Commissioner to consider option 1. And now we're open for questions.
Thank you. Maybe you could sit in the area in the event that anybody has questions. Great. At this time, I do have some requests to speak cards. And if you want to speak and have not filled one out yet, please do so and give it to the clerk. So my first speaker here is, and I apologize that I may not say this quite correctly, but Mano Traupasian. She's going to be followed by Vincent Yu, and then by Kathy Tran.
Good afternoon. Thank you, commissioners, for reviewing the documents we submitted and for giving us the opportunity to speak with you again. My name is Manu, and I'm a senior technician with the Santa Clara County Mosquito and Vector Control District with over 26 years of experience. We are here again to emphasize the challenges our district faces as we reach a point where delay district action poses real risk to public health and community safety. Our district is funded through property tax, specifically designated for mosquito and vector control services. We do not receive money from the county general fund, so the budget issue created by H.R. 1 should not significantly affect our operation. However, with our current assessment and the structure of the district, we are increasingly concerned that these dedicated funds are not being used efficiently. This directly impacts our ability to carry out our core mission and protect the community. While inflation and limited benefit assessment have contributed to financial strain, the most significant pressure comes from overhead costs. Nearly 30% of our budget is allocated to overhead costs to both the county and SEPA. Most services from these overhead costs remain unclear and undocumented. This lack of transparency makes it difficult for us to understand what we are paying for and to ensure that public funds are being used responsibly. Staff members have repeatedly requested supporting documentation and receive incomplete and unclear information. Requesting public records requests that, when received, also lack clarity. How does the Commission assess the transparency risk if similar requests were made by the public? We are requesting full line item documentations of overhead services provided to the district, deliver in a timely and consistent manner. Transparency is essential for accountability, and accountability is essential for public trust. Budget constraints have already prevented us from filling critical positions. This staffing shortages reduced our ability to respond effectively to mosquito-borne disease threats and other vector-related public health concerns. Without corrective action, we have serious concern about the district's long-term sustainability and its capacity to protect the community we serve. We are asking for your leadership to ensure that these public funds are used as intended to safeguard the health and safety of the residents of Santa Clara County. With transparency and timely action, we can restore the district's ability to fulfill its mission. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll have Vincent Yu.
Chair.
Yes.
Just a quick notice of the way. We could cut off, and when time's up, we usually do cut it off on the board meeting, and anybody could not finish their thing, they could always submit their statement to the clerk to add to the record. So that way,
Thank
we
you.
give people exactly the right amount of time. Thank you.
Yeah. So normally the sound is cut off. Are you able to do that?
Okay.
Yeah, we do the same thing. Thank you. Go ahead, Vincent.
All right. Hello, my name is Vincent, and I am the Chief Steward of the Mosquito and Vector Control District with SEIU 521, alongside our SEIU representative, Michael, who is also in attendance today. Firstly, I want to take the time to thank you all for your willingness to listen to our concerns during your December meeting and for providing initial suggestions to our request. We have reviewed the proposed options and would like some clarification. For option 1, we appreciate that a review has been scheduled for 2027. Since we initially brought this concern forward a few months ago, can you clarify what guided the decision to place the review in next year's cycle and not any time within this year? And for option 2, can you clarify who would be responsible for the cost of this review and provide a general rundown of the process for this option? While we are focused on a benefit assessment at the moment and expect to see results by June 2nd, 2026, why is the RFP being proposed at the June 3rd, 2026 meeting and not the April 3rd, 2026 meeting? Thank you for addressing our concerns and questions in the interest of protecting public health.
Thank you so much for your comments. Next, I have Kathy Tran.
Thank you again for your time, Commissioners. We are a special district housed within the county department, as your staff has mentioned, under the Department of the Consumer Environmental Protection Agency. We have reviewed how other special districts operate under both the county and LAFCO oversight, and we've noticed an important pattern. Out of the 26 special districts in the county, 19 are not housed within another county department. This stood out to us, especially because previous documents have stated that having county staff handle clerical, IT, and payroll functions would save district money. However, after running projected cost comparisons, our calculations show the opposite. The district would spend roughly 1/3 of the current cost if these roles were staffed in-house. In other words, the overhead we are paying now is significantly higher than it would cost to hire our own personnel. This raises a broader question about why our district is one of the few that is housed under another department, particularly when the potential cost savings could directly strengthen our public health services. Given these concerns, it becomes even more important to understand how SEPA determines the charges it allocates to the district. To ensure transparency and accountability, we would appreciate clarity on several points. The first point is, how does SEPA calculate its overhead and administrative service charges to the district, including the formulas or allocation methods used? Second, is the methodology being used considered reasonable under generally accepted governmental accounting and cost allocation practices, and on what basis? Third, who reviews and approves these allocation methodologies and the resulting charges, and what oversight controls are in place? Fourth, is there a documented cost allocation plan, policy, or formal agreement between SEPA and the district that outlines how these charges are established? If such a document exists, we respectfully request that it be shared. Finally, whether the commission can be provided with a detailed description of the administrative services SEPA charges the district, including how those costs are calculated, tracked, and approved. In addition to the financial questions, we also want to ensure the commission receives the most accurate operation perspective. With that in mind, the agenda packet stated LAFCO met with the SEPA director and earlier both the SEPA director and Boo, I apologize, I don't remember your title, and district staff. Can you confirm that included the district manager, as her name was not listed? If not, it seems valuable for the commission to hear directly from the district manager or even the assistant district manager, who are both sitting here behind me, who is licensed by the California Department of Public Health and Vector Control and oversees the district's day-to-day operations. Her insight would provide important context for the decisions being made. If she was not included, could you share the reasoning behind she was not consulted during this process? Thank you for your time for this matter in safeguarding public health.
Thank you very much. I don't see any other speakers. Is there anyone online?
Madam Chair, there are no more speakers on this item on Zoom or from the Gilroy City Hall.
Thank you. We'll now open it up to commissioners. So commissioners' questions. I'm looking to my left. I'm looking to my right. Yes, Commissioner Lee, and then we'll go to Commissioner Arenas.
Thank you so much. So looks like we have two options. We're going to do this study. The question really is, are we going to do it in sometime late summer 26 versus sometime in 27? Am I correct, Lanima? Or those are the choices we have today. So from your perspective, you're not giving us any recommendations of which one, if you just two options to choose, correct, for today? But looks like I do hear that from the staff, the admin is actually preferring to do it the latter in 27, but some of the employees have mentioned they actually was thinking, why don't we do it earlier? Am I summarizing what I'm hearing today?
That's right. We heard both perspectives.
Okay. I guess the question would be actually maybe with this, the director here and Boo as well. What would be the impact if we were to do it, say, would the time difference about what, maybe 7 to 8 months difference? So if we do it a little earlier, what would be the negative impact to the department?
Yes, yes.
President Lee, Commissioner Lee, that's a great question. So there is option 1 and 2. My understanding is that option 2, it puts it on front of other projects that LAFCO may have and also expands the scope, if I understand it correctly. What our recommendation is to continue option 1 and continue the focus and efforts for this 2026 assessment. As I mentioned during the presentation, The audit team of the Department of Finance is conducting a thorough audit of all policies, funding mechanisms. I just want to relate some of the comments. As a special district, all financial documents are reviewed by an independent third party, and those are posted on our website. And we make it clear that we go through audits, and we, working with our county executive, as part of FGOC, the mosquito and vector control was put as part of the audit plan. So from our recommendation, option 1 seems like the best viable option. It focuses and puts all efforts into the 2026 assessment. It is the most critical key for the district. It helps us continue to provide the same as our colleagues share, that protecting the community health. Unfortunately, our 2 assessments aren't increasing and keeping up the pace with costs. The 95 assessment, excuse me, 96 assessment is frozen in time at $5. The 2005 assessment can only increase up to 3%. So our proposal is to bring this 2026 assessment to increase revenue and keep up with costs of programs. So all focus and all energy should be, from our standpoint, be focused on the 2026 assessment. And while we're doing this right now, we have the audit happening from the audit team, and every year we're getting audited by an independent third party.
Okay, so what's the time difference? Are we talking about a 1-year delay? Are we talking about 6 months delay? How much are the differences here, Naima? Can you help explain the 2 options?
Yes, Commissioner Lee. Option 1 would be to do the study of the vector control district along with the other special districts, special district service review. According to the current work plan, that service review is not scheduled until 2027 after the completion of the water and wastewater service review. So we don't have a specific date in terms of when exactly in 2027 at this point, but it's just generally scheduled for after the completion of the water and wastewater service review. So option 2 is where it would allow the commission to begin the service review following the completion of the ballot proceedings for the benefit assessment, which are set to conclude on June 2nd. So it would allow for a quicker timeline for the commission to begin. We would bring, if we were to move forward with that, we would bring something to the commission for commission's consideration at their June meeting, which is June 3rd, earliest. That would be the earliest that we would bring something, so as to not distract from the ballot proceedings.
Right. Okay. No, that's very helpful, Naima. So those are 2 really separate things. Assessment first. We won't be doing anything before the assessment by June, right? And then after that's when this potentially get brought up if we do option 2.
That's the proposal, yes.
Right. Okay. All right. That's all I have. Thank you.
Chair, would you like me to stay here?
And then,
I'm sorry, Chairperson. You would like me to stay here or go back?
and I think the microphones there are all
they
working.
Are. Okay.
Yeah, so, Commissioner Arenas?
Thank you. So thank you so much for taking us through that. I was also going to ask some additional, excuse me, some additional questions about the process. I'm going to carry the conversation a little further and just express my support for option 2. I think that it's within, if we have an audit that's already happening and there's a service review that can then enhance what the audit's already doing, it is not replacing it, but it's enhancing it, then I think it could be more comprehensive. And instead of waiting for an additional year where it's staggered and any efficiencies that might have come out from the audit then have to then be revised with the service review. And so I just think that if we can align it as much as we can, and if we start with the service review, then we start with the service review. I just think that sooner is better for some of the districts so that they can have more efficiencies and be able to serve the public in a better way. If we put out this RFP in June, when do you approximate the actual service review being done and completed?
We'd have to come up with a work plan. We'd have to come up with a scope of work. But it generally, if the commission were to consider the RFP and give us the go-ahead to move with the RFP, we would put it out soon after and give a couple of weeks, and then we'd do the consultant selection. I'm thinking that would be at least a month or two with everything to get the project started. So not sooner than August, we would, and then depending on the scope of work for the study, we'd have to work that out. I'm sorry, I don't have a good estimate for how long this whole thing will take. It won't be, unlike the wastewater service review, which is a year-long process because it involved so many different agencies. This won't be, I don't anticipate this being a year-long process.
Got it. I appreciate that. I think, you know, the homeowners, especially those who are impacted, I think would probably find it in very good faith to have a service review after they've been, you know, they've finished voting taxing themselves, so that we can see, they can continue to see how they're going to have more efficient or effective service. I just want those things to line up. The assessment is going to increase the capacity for the agency, and I think the service review can help further delineate how that improvement can happen. And more information, I think, is better than waiting for another additional year and then staggering that. And then another level of improvement, I think we can just move a little bit more smoothly. And so I'm going to put a motion on the floor to move item 2.
Great. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. And we will now go to Commissioner O'Neill.
Okay, thank you. Some of my questions revolve around some of the data that was provided by the SEIU folks and you know, very extensive information, and particularly what was I found somewhat concerning, and maybe it, if staff could say whether this was discussed in the meetings with SEPA, was that the rather large increase in overhead that was being assessed to this particular district, and I've, you know, very experienced with overhead costs, whether in the corporate setting or in many different kinds of governmental bodies, how that's done. But, I mean, there's been a tremendous increase. And particularly also when you look at what we're looking at kind of neighboring agencies or counties or what their level of overhead. And I think based on what a couple of the speakers mentioned about whether if there's a more efficient way to provide those services and just the level, I mean, you know, like particularly one of the Appendix C that showed the percentage of the director of 42% of that salary is coming from this district. I think that was particularly, you know, jumped out at me because this is a relatively small district, and I'm sure almost all of us have had interactions with the staff of this district, either at community resource fairs or they've come to my house to say, hey, let's look and see if you've got any standing water. You know, there's been mosquitoes in my area. There have been very close to me. There have been some of those new mosquitoes found. So I want to be, so I think this district does great work, and I want to make sure that we are enabling them to fulfill their mission in the most efficient way possible. And so one of the other things that I wanted to know was this assessment is going forward. I did check, and it was voted on by the Board of Supervisors last week. But in light of these overhead costs and the comments, you know, was there any modeling done about if those overhead costs were brought into more to where they were, say, 10 years ago, or what our neighboring counties or other benchmark counties that we would look at in the state, would that assessment have been very different? Or would the need for it been different? Or would we be able to focus, you know, to really direct resources to fulfill the mission of the agency? Thank you.
So do you want that as part of the investigation of the?
Well, I believe that would be necessary, particularly, I'm not sure, I didn't hear any comments, you know, there was some very compelling data presented in all the information that the staff forwarded to us. And so I haven't heard any, you know, discussion to, you know, maybe perhaps Boo or, you know, could address that, but like I said, it was rather alarming to look at that data. And to me, that was very compelling to say, maybe we need to be looking at this as soon as possible. And I understand the restrictions on, you know, all of our time and stuff, but I think it did raise some flags to me.
It warrants it, yeah. Okay. I think that in terms of, we're not going to get into, our job today is not to get into the details. We're going to leave that as part of the work that's going to be coming to us. And so I just put that in as a comment for you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll have now Commissioner Kishimoto.
Thank you. So I'm definitely leaning towards option 2, but I do have a couple questions. I guess one was, I wasn't quite sure if I understood the director, the SEPA director. Did you say that there's independently, there's going to be a internal financial audit? And if so, I mean, what was the timing of that?
If I may, through the chair, answer. So that is correct. So every year, our financial statements are reviewed by an independent third party as part of being a special assessment. Additionally, we are undergoing an audit of reviewing all documents, policies, protocols as it relates to an audit that is being done by the audit division of the Department of Finance. And if I may, through the chair, we're prepared to answer some of the questions that Commissioner O'Neill proposed to give some context on her questions, if allowed.
Is that appropriate? Yes. That's fine.
All right. I'm going to introduce my colleague, Stephen Thomas, Departmental Fiscal Officer for SEPA, to address some of your questions, Commissioner. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So the first question that the SEIU staff membered is that overhead, they implied that it was the most significant pressure on Vector Control's budget. That is not correct. While the overhead, defined as all costs coming from anywhere else in the county to provide services like vehicle maintenance, IT, and such like, is a significant portion of the budget. It has been growing slower than the per person cost for Vector staff. So since county overhead is provided by county employees, subject to the same bargaining agreements as Vector staff, if we were maintaining the same level of overhead support, i.e. same number of people per each Vector technician in the field, those costs would increase at the same rate. Since 2019, the cost for a standard Vector staff, a Vector technician 3, has grown at 4.7% per year, while total overhead over that same period has grown at 1.5% per year. So our overhead is growing slower than our overall costs. Second, I have looked at other vector control districts around the Bay Area, and generally speaking, our overhead costs are comparable, if slightly less, than those districts that I've been able to find comparable, complete data for. For example, our vehicle maintenance costs are $13,000 per Vector technician, whereas the average for the 3 districts I was able to find detailed numbers for was approximately $22,000. So both over time and compared to benchmark agencies, overhead is not the problem. The problem is that revenue is not keeping up with inflation. If our revenues had increased at the same rate as CPI since 2014, we would not have a structural deficit at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions over here? Did you have?
Well, I had another question.
Okay, let me ask whether or not Commissioner Hilton has any questions. Commissioner Hilton, are you still with us?
Okay,
Yeah, I'm still here. No, I do not have any questions.
Okay.
well, my second question. Well,
Yes.
my first question was the financial audit, and so when is this cycles? When is that due to be complete? To finish my first question.
Thank you for the question, Commissioner. So your question is regarding our audit of
Internal.
third-party, internal or outside? Internal. We're going through it right now. The schedule is to then the results from the audit will be presented at the June 2026 FGOC, which is a committee within the Board of Supervisors.
Okay, and then there was going to be a external audit of that?
So that is considered the external audit.
That's the
It is the
external
audit team, the official audit team of the county that is taking a look at our financial picture, financial statements, how we do overhead, policies, practices, see where we can find efficiencies. We have really made it a point to increase efficiencies in the way we do all things from our outreach to our freezing of positions that may not be having the best impact in terms of ROI, but that will then be looked at it from a audit team. Also, our financial statements are reviewed annually as part of our ongoing sort of financial picture.
Including the allocation of the overhead.
Correct. And really quick, in terms of percentage, vector control makes up 36% FTE of SEPA. So more or less, that makes up the overhead, give or take. We take into consideration other numbers, but for the most part, if we look at straight FTE, vector control makes up currently 36% of SEPA. So rightfully so, that FTE is very closely related to the overhead as it relates to SEPA. The 30% that was referenced includes also the county overhead, which is a public document posted on the Department of Finance website.
Okay, I'm sure I'll have a chance to look at that again. And then I guess and then as somebody mentioned, it's not just the timing, but the scope of the work. And so, I mean, my understanding is whether it's done this year as a special one or next year as part of special district's review, it would be kind of called out I mean, it wouldn't be part of a routine special service review. Is that correct? I mean, you would have to do some special work to
That's
address
right.
this.
This would be a little bit more involved, given the issues that have been raised. We would, through the service review, have to address those issues.
Right. So the scope would be the same either way.
The scope for, yes, the scope would be the same.
Scope
That's
and
correct.
cost, really.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. And so, yes, given that, then, yeah, I would definitely support option 2 as well.
Commissioner Kishimoto, I had thought that you had been finished with your questioning, so my apologies. Anyway, that's why I called on Hilton, yeah. Are there any other questions? No? No other questions? All right, so I too agree with Commissioner, with the motion on the floor. I really think that we really need this to move forward, and I think it can be incorporated. I have a question for the staff on the assessment that's going to be done will be this June, the sort of, it's a benefit assessment that will be put forward. What I heard from the financial person, I apologize, I didn't quite get your name, but I was wondering, you know, if you over time have seen this structural deficit continue to rise, why wasn't the benefit assessment consideration done earlier so that you wouldn't have such a big gap?
Thank you. So the department was last in basically structural balance in 2019. At that point, that was about when I joined SEPA, and well before either of my colleagues did. We had some turnover in 2023. And at that time, we were in structural balance. The wisdom that had been passed down from previous administrations was that we're allowed to increase the assessment up to 3% per year, depending on CPI. The belief that had been passed down from many years ago before that was that if we didn't take it one year, we could roll that forward to the next year. So the first year that we were out of balance, we realized, we were advised that we couldn't do that. So at that point, we looked at payroll cost increases, the amount of fund balance reserve we had at the time, and we projected that we would need a third assessment in somewhere around 2030. That assessment was done in 2020, pre-COVID. Then, as you may remember, in 2023, we had a big spike of inflation. Healthcare costs for employees went up rather dramatically. And at that point, the time we were going to need the third assessment went from 2030, moved it forward because costs were increasing faster. We moved it to 2027, and that was in 2023. So at that point, relatively quickly, it was within just a few months, we were bringing it to the board to get an RFP for the assessment services, and then we worked through the process of preparing for the assessment, including the polling data and all the legal work to get an assessment ready, and then getting the board's approval. So realistically, without knowing that the healthcare costs were going to rise so quickly in 2023, before they did increase, if we didn't know that beforehand, we didn't have the time in order to have the assessment happen for an earlier year without basically allowing zero time for the board or anybody else to discuss internally.
So when did you know that you were going to have a 2026 assessment?
We estimated that in 2024. And that's when we started the process of taking things to the Board of Supervisors to get permission to prepare for that.
I guess, hindsight is 20/20, huh? I think that these processes, as we all know, take so long to get going. So I think that maybe the learning is that, you have to do these things sooner because I don't know, but costs don't seem to come down. They just keep going up. It's one directional these days, and so I think that trying to not put yourself in a situation where it's difficult, right? Because it's not just one entity that's going to want more increases. There are going to be multiple entities that, are saying, yes, we are facing the same cliff, and unfortunately, it's a big problem. It's a big problem where, just revenues are not keeping up with our costs. So I think we'll see what happens with the benefit assessment, but I think having those things be a little bit more quicker might be more helpful in the future. So with that, we do have a motion and a second. Please roll call.
Commissioner Arenas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bell? Commissioner Kishimoto?
Yes.
Commissioner Lee?
Aye.
Commissioner O'Neill?
Yes.
Commissioner Hilton?
Aye.
And Chair Kame.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for your information and your attention. Let's move now to item number 7, Finance Committee for fiscal year 2026-2027. Establish a committee composed of 3 commissioners to work with staff to develop and recommend the proposed FY 2026-27 LAFCO work plan and budget for consideration by the full commission. And I'm going to turn it over to staff.
That was pretty much the staff report. So
Oh, there you go.
Hoping for some volunteers.
Yes, so we're looking for some volunteers. Oh, great. Commissioner Chapman, 1. Okay. Commissioner O'Neill, 2. We're looking for 1 more. Commissioner Hilton, are you raising your hand?
Yeah, I'd be glad to join, Chair.
Excellent, excellent. Well, there you go. Do we? I need a motion to authorize Commissioner Chapman, Commissioner O'Neill, and Commissioner
So
Hilton.
moved.
Wonderful. There's a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Arenas? Commissioner Bell? Commissioner Kishimoto? Commissioner Lee?
Aye.
Commissioner O'Neill?
Yes.
Commissioner Hilton?
Aye.
And Chair Kame?
Yes, thank you so much, and thank you so much for your service. I know it's extra time, away from other things, so thank you so much for volunteering. Great. Let's move on to item number 10, Cal LAFCO related activities. This is to designate a voting delegate for the Cal LAFCO Special Corporate Business Meetings. Staff report?
That was pretty much the staff report. But, there are some important meetings coming up. The first one, February 23rd, where we're going to need somebody to vote related to the bylaw changes. And then there'll be other meetings happening throughout the year. So we're looking for a voting delegate, or Cal LAFCO is, so that we can let them know who'll be voting on bylaws changes or other matters this year.
Great. And as most of you know, I was voted on nominated by this board to be on the Cal LAFCO board, and so I hope that I can also be your voting member. And I think we need a motion for that. Excellent. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Arenas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bell? Commissioner Kishimoto? Yes. Commissioner Lee?
Aye.
Commissioner O'Neill?
Yes.
Commissioner Hilton?
Aye.
Chair Kame?
Aye. Thank you so much. Let's see here. We're going to go down to commissioner reports. Do we have any commissioner reports? No? No commissioner reports? Okay. The only thing that I have to report on is I'm an alternate to their legislative committee. Unfortunately, it was sort of the same day as my city council meeting, so I only was able to listen in on half of it. Our person who is in the position was there, so she voted, but I had to step away as an alternate. Okay, and I don't think since there's no commissioner report, no action is required. And now we are at adjournment. And our next meeting, our next LAFCO meeting will be April 1st at 1:15 in the Board of Supervisor Chambers, 70 West Heading, San Jose. And we are adjourned at 2:24. Thank you. I am so sorry.
That's all right, that's right.